Hello and welcome to another edition of Lightest and Best, where we look at a variety of offerings that are the lightest and best from a variety of manufacturers. And today we're looking at the manufacturer Chris Reeve. His lightest and best offering is the Mnandi. Chris Reeve is an industry leader in quality, known for his tight tolerances and excellence in manufacturing. Mnandi comes from the Zulu word which means very nice. And I can say that they accomplished and realized the meaning of the name of this knife. It is a very nice knife. Let's talk about the specifications. The blade length is 2.75 inches. The handle length is 3.625 inches, giving a total knife length of 6.375 inches. The weight of the knife is 1.5 ounces. And we'll give a variety of knives for comparison. First, we'll start with the Chris Reeve knives. The industry standard is the Sabenza. This is in the Insingo form, and the Sabenza is a little longer than the Mnandi. Next is the Nkosi, which is very similar in length, but just a little bit longer than the Mnandi. The Benchmade Mini Grip Tillion as well is just a little bit longer than the Mnandi. The Spyderco Dragonfly is a little bit shorter than the Mnandi. The Spartan Blades Metis is close to the same size of the Mnandi. We'll call it even maybe a little bit larger. And then there's the Strider PT, which is similar in size to the Mnandi as well. The blade on the Mnandi is S35VN. It has a satin finish and the flats have a light stone wash. The blade has a high hollow ground and the spine is crowned. Chris Reeve has a tendency to crown the spines of his knife that give it this little extra fit and finish. Not all manufacturers do, but we'll look at the Nkosi, which has a crowned spine as well, and the Sabenza, which also has a crowned spine. A nice little fit and finish. There's no sharp edge there. Also, the Spartan Blades Metis has a finished crowned spine as well. Very nice touch whenever a manufacturer does that. I like it. There's good jimping on the back spine of the blade as well. There are a variety of blades that the Mnandi is offered in, not just the S35VN. It has a variety of Damascuses, and I'll share with you some different patterns. First is the ladder Damascus, the raindrop Damascus, and the basket weave Damascus. The method of deployment of the knife is by nail nick, and so you can have a two-handed deployment where you pull on the nail nick and open it like that. You can also do a pinch grip where you get your thumb and your third finger and break the detent and then continue to open it with the thumb. It's a two-step maneuver. This is not a one-hand opening knife. Years ago, maybe 5 years ago, there was a different version of the nail nick. This nail nick does not have a sharp edge. It comes and then has this angle that angles up like that instead of a sharp 90-degree angle. When there was a 90-degree angle, you could open it with one hand. However, the Chris Reeve company made a decision to have a smooth opening, to make a two-handed opening or a pinch grip opening rather than a one-handed opening for whatever reason. The handle is made of 6A14V titanium, and it has an overlay with a variety of materials. This particular one has an overlay with Gabon ebony. And the handle looks like it's a liner lock with a captive liner lock, but really I'm going to call this a captive frame lock, because if you look at the knife, the wood is not part of the handle, it's just an overlay. You see that it has a pivot and a standoff. However, the wood does not extend to the standoff. In other words, the frame of the knife is really the titanium, and the ebony is just an overlay, so it's just there for cosmetic reasons, and it functions as an over-travel stop for the frame lock. So it is a frame lock knife. There are a variety of woods that are offered. This one, as I'd mentioned, is Gabon ebony. However, they also have box elder burr, bocote, cocobolo, Gabon ebony, Macassar ebony, bog oak, thuya burl, salted beech, snakewood, Honduran rosewood, and mammoth bark. The woods are all similar in price. However, the box elder burl is typically listed $75 more than the rest. Usually, the knife sells with a standard S35V blade from $375 to $400, whereas the box elder burl will go from $450 to $475. Apparently, it's a wood that is in more demand. They also offer mammoth bark. Mammoth bark is, as you know, from a prehistoric animal, the mammoth, which no longer exists today. The bark, the difference between mammoth ivory and mammoth bark is the bark is the outside of the tusk and has more coloration in it. Ivory is from the inside of the tusk and is more off-white to white. The most expensive of the knives is with the mammoth ivory. It runs around $900, especially if you have a Damascus blade. I wanted to take a little time and talk about the hardness of the wood outlays or overlays that they have on the knife. We spend a lot of time explaining about the Rockwell hardnesses of the steels that are on the knives, but we seldom talk about the hardnesses of the wood overlays that they have. So I want to spend some time doing that. Before I do that, I want to give a disclaimer that depending on what source you use for the Janka hardness scales of a particular wood, you may get varying measurements. And that's because there's great variability between one tree and another tree and which country it's harvested from. So I'm just going to say you may look these numbers up and find totally different numbers, and just be prepared for that. That having been said, we'll start. The hardest wood on a Janka hardness scale is snakewood at 3,800, followed by Gabon ebony and Macassar ebony. Then follows Bocote, Honduran rosewood, spalted beech, cocobola, thuya burl, bog oak, and the softest of all the wood overlays that are offered on the knife is the box elder burl at 720. It's an irony that the softest wood is also the most expensive wood, but there you go. I think most people purchase the woods depending on how they like them aesthetically, not the hardness of the wood and their proclivity to damage. I just wanted you guys to have some information that isn't on the normal knife review. Hope it's helpful for you if you're wanting to pick out one of these knives. The construction of the knife is simple. It's an open construction with only two attachment points, the pivot and the back standoff. The stop pin it has for the blade is a floating stop pin, and it serves to stop the close as well as the open positions for the blade. Simplicity is a good thing, and it doesn't come more basic than this. The pivot runs on phosphobronze washers, and if I can get it here, there we go. You can see a little bit of the phosphobronze washer there on the inside of the knife that the pivot runs on. The lock, as I've mentioned, is a captive frame lock. It locks up at about 50%, and as you can tell, there's perfect centering in the knife, just like you expect from a Chris Reeve knife. The pocket clip is a 3D machined clip and functions very nicely and has an adequate ramp. Most Chris Reeve knives use a spring clip, and I'll give you the example of the Sabenza and the Nkosi, which have spring clips. The Umnumzan also employs a spring clip. The one knife that doesn't have a spring clip or a milled clip is the Tylock, which employs the G&G Hawk custom clip. I love this clip. It functions like a clothespin. You pinch on the end of the clip and it opens it like a clothespin. Then you can put it on your pants and release it and it closes. And to remove it, you pinch it again, it opens, and you can remove it. I did a video just rating the clips in an Academy Award fashion, and I gave one of the awards, which was the most innovative, interesting clip, to the G&G Hawk clip that is on the tie lock. The ergonomics of the knife are wonderful. It has a 4-finger grip because the handle is very simple. You can get your whole hand on it, and it has a place for traction with the jimping on the back of the spine. The branding on the knife is very simple. It only has 2 places of branding. I want to point out the blade first of all. There's nothing on the show side and nothing on the clip side. The only branding they have is the maker's mark, Chris Reeve, which is a C with an R inside of it on the show side of the pivot. And then on the clip, there's another maker mark, the C with the R inside. This is the only branding or billboarding the entire knife has. It's a beautiful knife, and the branding is minimalist and beautiful and tasteful. So what are my impressions about the Chris Reeve Mnandi? I love it. I think it's one of the best, highest quality gentleman's folders in the industry. Are there opportunities for improvement? Certainly. One of the most glaring things that could be improved is the price. It is expensive. The base models start out at around $400, and the highest level knife, the Mammoth scale with the Damascus blade, runs almost $900. What do I like about it? Well, it's a well-made, quality gentleman's knife. And it's simple. It has 2 attachment points, the pivot and the back standoff. And the back standoff serves to secure the pocket clip also. And because it's simple, you can undo this and switch the pocket clip over to the other side so it's both tip-up right and left-hand carry. Everything about the knife is beautiful. The clip point blade is beautiful. It looks like a Ferrari race car with the clip point blade. Its nail nick is beautiful. Its jimping is beautiful. Its crowned spine is beautiful and smooth to the touch. The handle scales are beautiful, and they come in a variety of options. I have the Gabon ebony. They're smooth and just add richness to the knife. And the clip is beautiful too. It's mechanically beautiful, and the 3D natured and simplicity of it's beautiful as well. But more than anything, its mechanical function is beautiful. It has that Sabenza smoothness, that Chris Reeve excellence of machining. So if you would like a simple, light, elegant gentleman's folder with a variety of handle overlays and blade options, the Chris Reeve Mnandi could be, no, should be the knife for you. It's the lightest and best knife from Chris Reeve. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next lightest and best video.